wake up from your snooze. Come get with the crew. You know who it is, what it is, what we do. It's the crew, yeah. Oh yeah, it's the crew. Oh yeah, it's the crew, yeah. Oh yeah, it's the crew. Oh yeah, it's time to snooze, join the crew. We got news, we got tunes. We gon' hit you with the truth. We ain't like them other dudes. All the glory to Jesus, cause of him we making moves. Oh yeah, we done found our groove. You can come get with it too. It's the crew.
Yo, what's poppin', Crew Nation? You already know who it is, what it is, and what we do, baby. It is your boy Jay.
And this is Chris.
And today we are here to talk about, y'all know why we're here. That's the reason why y'all are here. We are here to talk about the situation between Dee-1 and the GOAT. Look, what is it about Miles Minnick that if you get on a Miles Minnick record, you must talk your ish? Yeah. We saw this with Lecrae, right? He had the situation with Caleb Gordon. Now we have Dee-1.
Well, all hell breaks loose if you get on the Miles Minnick track,
bro.
apparently.
I don't get it.
Should people stay away from Miles Minnick features? They should stay away from Miles. If he reaches out to you, then you might find yourself in some type of confrontation.
You might.
So, I don't know. You may want to stay away from Miles Minnick album. Nah. Hey, man. Welcome to another phase of love and Christian hip-hop, you know?
Yeah, man. Episode 5.
It is what
and it seems to always involve Lecrae. Why does it always involve Lecrae?
Because you talking about the GOAT, man. A lot of people going to have a lot of... and then especially if you apparently insert yourself, if you're Lecrae and you insert yourself.
Lecrae, brother, you got to stop. You coming across real lukewarm right now. I recently posted a video where I said, as believers, we can't glorify being righteous and ratchet. Then you wanted to insert yourself into the conversation. So you came behind me and posted a video saying that we need to keep some aspects of ratchetness and we need to do away with other aspects.
So here's the thing about that. So Dee-1, I'm glad you brought that up, said that Lecrae inserted himself, but that's not what happened.
I said apparently, by the way. I was just going off of what Dee-1 said.
Right. No. But I'm saying I remember watching. So this all comes from, to let you all know, this all comes from Dee-1 doing an interview, and he's saying, he can't believe that... paraphrasing, that some Christians would co-sign the Righteous and Ratchet. I don't think no one is actually co-signing the lifestyle, but that moniker, that term, that label, right? And there's only one person that I've ever heard say this.
Yeah, Righteous
only
and
one.
Ratchet. Lecrae been saying Righteous and Ratchet for years, and he said it numerous times.
Right. So with that being said, when he was saying this, and it's funny because if you go back and you watch the video, Dee-1 says, there are so many Christians right now. I knew almost immediately that he wanted to say there's a popular rapper right now that co-signs this.
And hip-hop culture does. It makes room to be ratchet and righteous. There's literally a popular... I saw Christians posting about that stuff. I'm righteous and ratchet. Man, well, forget y'all. We ain't on the same team because I'm real righteous and relevant.
Now, granted, one could say, well, you don't know that because he didn't say that. And I agree with that, right? But everyone knew. If you've been around Christian hip-hop at any point in time, you knew that this was eventually going to go to this rift that we have between Dee-1 and Lecrae.
All right, so there's a little online debate about can you be ratchet and righteous? And I thought what a great time to address this as I'm on my walk through the suburban community taking out my braids, where people probably like, oh, he ratchet, look at him, he ratchet. But that's okay because that's an aspect of who I am. You know, ratchetness comes from disenfranchised communities. It's a part of the culture that we are raised in. And there's some aspects of it that are redeemable, some aspects we gotta let go. Maybe you talk loud in public. Maybe you got a mouthful of gold. Maybe you pat your hair. Those are not sinful qualities or things that you gotta let go of.
Yeah. So after Dee-1 said what he said, Lecrae goes on and he makes a video saying, yo, I got my hair out in my suburban neighborhood. I'm ratchet, right? And Dee-1 was like, my guy. No, but that's not what we're talking about. I personally feel like that if the definition of ratchet was kind of laid out,
I think
that would be. But Lecrae tried to lay it out. But apparently he tried to lay it out from Wikipedia, which I knew at one point colleges didn't let you use Wikipedia. So I don't know.
I think that's the big issue because I think we need to figure out what is everybody's ratchet. What ratchet are we talking about? Because ratchet can mean different things to different people. So like, just dancing and stuff like that, and you know, some people might say is ratchet. I don't see the. I don't see the if we're going based off of that, then anything that we do, whether it be brushing our teeth, is a disconnect from God. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we're labeling like certain things as ratchet, but what if we took that name off of it? Is somebody just dancing then and just like, you know, going crazy and getting hyped or whatever the case may be? So I'm just really trying. A lot of times we have this negative perception of what ratchet is and what people claim what ratchet can be, but a lot of times people mentioning ratchet doesn't mean like crazy things. So I understand the frustration from somebody like Lecrae when somebody makes a blanket statement talking about being righteous and ratchet, because and how ratchet is, you know, not godly and it's not righteous. So that's what it is to me. It's about the line and what we consider to be ratchet.
So do you think that Dee-1 is wrong for addressing Cray the way that he did? Because according to what I saw, Cray was very as polite as he could be.
Cray is not the dude to just start up random beefs and send subliminals unless he feels like he was called out. So, you know, Dee-1 could say that Lecrae inserted himself, but Lecrae could make the argument of, you inserted me, we all know who you were talking about.
Oh, of course. Look,
You know,
that's not the question. I think that anybody who, again, has been around Christian hip-hop for any certain point of time knew that while he didn't call Lecrae's name, that response or whatever he was speaking on was directly a Lecrae reference. Yeah. Because in this space specifically, there's nobody who says or mentions Righteous and Ratchet at least as much as Lecrae does. So this point that Dee-1 took on, you know, you inserted yourself, I think is a bit far-fetched because
Lecrae has been getting thrown to a lot of unwanted circumstances.
Hold on. Cray did that on himself with the Forrest Frank situation.
Yeah,
Cray did that himself. I defend Cray on here a lot. Y'all know this. In that situation, because I only bring that up because they both happened in the same week. That situation, Cray did that himself, bro. I mean, you can't be that close to somebody when we talk about Swoop and
know that he has a problem with that situation
and not think that anything is going to happen.
Right.
As a matter of fact, everybody, immediately when the picture dropped, everybody knew it was going to be an issue. I guarantee you Forrest Frank knew it was going to be an issue. Yeah.
I mean, considering how close Lecrae is with Swoop, they go back years, you know what I'm saying? So, and especially the last 8 years or so, Swoop has been heavy with Lecrae, touring with him and everything that. The last 8 to 10 years or whatever the case may be. So it's if you're Swoop, like, I understand it. Like, this was a situation that was public. You knew the problems that I had, whether you believe he stole the song or not. You knew that I had a problem with this, and this is what I thought, and this is what I felt. You know, and so for you to know that and see that, and still, I'm sure Lecrae's heart and his intentions were pure, because Lecrae is just, from what I've seen from Lecrae and the people I've talked to that have that know him personally, I don't feel like Lecrae is the type of dude to do anything like knowingly. Like, oh, I know my boy Swoop is going to be pissed off, but hey, it'll be all right. I think Lecrae has the genuine heart to realize within himself and say, I don't think that he would have I don't think he has a problem with this. And when he found out he has a problem with it, now Lecrae should have been more aware. Argument could be made that he should have been more aware, but I don't think he just went out of his way to be like, man, he'll probably have a problem with it, but whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I'll say it
I don't
like
think
this.
You can make that type of claim.
I'll say it like this.
And the shocker of it all was Natalie Lauren speaking up and out, because this is not even something I knew that she I didn't know that there was any type of issue or problem from Natalie Lauren as it pertains to Lecrae, the hit maker herself.
Well, there may not be. I think that she was just stepping in for her friend. Because
when
Natalie
you say,
Lauren
when you say
Swoop has been,
yeah, absolutely. But when you say
close.
absolutely, but when you say things like this, friends do not move like this. When we know her and Lecrae had been close for years, probably close to 20 years, her and Lecrae has been close.
Long time. You think it's that long? I don't think it's that long.
I'm pretty. If we going back to
15, maybe 12.
When did Susie Rock get popping? You know what I'm saying? Like
I mean,
shortly after the music stops and when she started writing and stuff like that.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
Like at least definitely by my. Oh, okay. 15 years.
Yeah,
we'll say 15.
I mean that has no bearing for the way any of this, but yeah.
So when you make a statement and say, friends don't move like this and everybody is not wrong, there's something there that there's a problem and there's an issue.
So I took it as this is not the first time because she said same story, different
So there's
years.
a clear issue.
This is not the first time that he might have done this essentially involving Swoop. I don't know what the details of that is. Nobody knows. But this is what she said. I'm going to tell you what I didn't care for, though, was Swoop and, well, technically Swoop, not so much Lecrae, because Lecrae all but admitted that he had a blind spot when he responded. He all but admitted that he had a blind spot. Swoop, on the other hand, said don't listen to to folks on the internet. And I didn't like the way that made Natalie Lauren look. Now, granted, people could say, well, he's talking to y'all.
If he is, it doesn't matter anyways.
Right, it doesn't.
But he very well may be talking about us, but it doesn't. It makes never mind us.
Right, but here's my thing in regards to that. Even if he was, we didn't say anything.
Right.
We copied and reposted. You know what I'm saying?
So
now we're saying something.
So it doesn't matter even.
It doesn't.
Even if he did, but and we have tremendous respect from Swoop, and we told him that when we met him in person a few months ago.
Facts.
And we gave him it. We wanted to be sure to give him his flowers and tell him right there that he is a legend. He has a seat at the legends table of Christian hip hop.
Yes.
So we have the utmost respect for him. And Wooden Report. At this point, we're pretty good with and pretty comfortable with not having to explain the intentions on why we report
of course.
anymore these days.
Yeah.
We're so over and removed from explaining why we report things. If you don't rock with it, it's okay.
Yeah.
And you can just move forward. Yeah. And we're going to continue to do what we do. So we have no issues with anybody that has a problem.
Natalie Lauren, I didn't like the way, just from a normal perspective, because here we go again. With because a lot of people saying, oh, well, she shouldn't have said anything. And I'm like, okay, but what would the conversation had been had she not said anything? Everybody, when he dropped the picture, if you've been a part of Christian hip hop at any point in time, you thought something of this situation. There's no way you couldn't. With that story being one of the biggest stories in Christian hip hop of that year, because I believe it was December of last year, there's no way you couldn't have thought anything. So as much as I want to say, and I do believe this, that Cray didn't have any ill intent behind it, that there was no malice, you cannot tell me that someone as smart as Lecrae is, as eloquently spoken as Goat Cray is, as calculated as Goat Cray is, you cannot tell me that he didn't perceive this would be a problem by the time it dropped. If we're saying they're this close, and if we're saying that they've had this type of relationship for so many years, and we're saying all of this, there is no way that you can honestly get me to believe that second that now, granted,
especially if they've had the conversation about this, which I'm sure that maybe they have.
Exactly. Now I will say
so that's
this.
what does it for you.
I will say this. Now, if this song, because we know people do songs 3-4 years in advance with each other, which I doubt that it's this long, but if the song was done before everything happened, I can see it like, hey, but even then, instead of Swoop going to Natalie Lauren and saying, I love you, Muggs, when she said what she said, it should have been man, we done already talked about this. I know what y'all going to think, but, me and Crazy. You see what I'm saying?
He didn't necessarily put validity to Natalie Lauren's
exclamation point.
post.
Is it a validity? that isn't valid, that isn't a stamp of agreement?
Well, he said I love you. He just said
He said I love you with an exclamation point.
Okay, so he didn't necessarily address what she said.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you know, it did appear as though he saw some validity to it with the "I love you" and almost like a "I hear you."
Yeah.
I hear you.
Thank you.
Know?
Almost like a
right,
thank
right.
you.
Almost like a thank you for seeing it,
Right.
seeing what I see,
Right.
You know, so
Right.
which these things unfortunately happen. As I said, I think because you took the Natalie Lauren situation, you didn't necessarily see it as her calling out Lecrae. You didn't necessarily see it.
I saw it as she spoke up for everything that we were already thinking. In a sense of now, granted, when you say things like friends don't move like this, and because when I heard not everybody's lying, the way I took from that is here's another situation where Lecrae is betraying one of his friends. Right.
Not everybody's lying.
Right.
You know, so it made me believe, man, how long does this issue go back between her and Lecrae? How long does this potential issue go back if she's saying things like that? And I have noticed, you know, Natalie Lauren, she's been in her own world doing her own thing. And to my knowledge, hasn't really been working with Reach Records like that lately here anymore. Has wrote hit songs for Craig, has wrote songs for Justin Bieber, wrote songs for Chris Brown's album Iggy Azalea. So this is somebody who's, let's all respect given to pioneered women's Christian hip hop in a sense.
Who a lot in Christian hip hop will refer to as the GOAT of Christian hip hop. It's between her and
Jackie Hill Perry.
Seriously,
But you know, Natalie Lauren, I feel like opened up the gate for people like Jackie Hill Perry, for people like Wanda and everybody that we're seeing today. Portia Love.
You want to know what's so wild about that is that I think her and Jackie is like around the same age.
Yeah, well,
that's crazy.
Jackie kind of got big after she was already not older. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just talking about
she had a late.
time.
It was a late,
right? A late blow up.
Yeah,
she had a late blow up. But yeah, man,
it's just crazy to say that she paved the way for somebody like a Jackie.
Right,
Hill,
and they're around the same age, positively.
But to your point, yeah, Jackie, Susie started, or Natalie Lauren Sims started probably 5 to 6 years before Jackie did.
Yeah, she was. Natalie Lauren was almost on an aisle by herself because you've seen her featured on these records, and then she was doing a lot of writing, a lot of background vocals.
She was.
I mean, when you hear her voice, you know it's her.
Yeah.
Because she has a unique and distinct voice, and she's very talented. But it's just an overall sad situation if we've come to this and we've came here.
Well, we say all of that to say that her saying what she said carries a lot of weight because of her place within Christian hip hop royalty.
Yeah.
Right. So with that being said, that's what made everybody raise an eye. The thing is that when Swoop came through and said what he said, I don't think nobody really paid attention to him. I don't think nobody actually believed what he was saying. Because now, again, I'll take this back to this. Now you're making it like Natalie Lauren was an unnecessary voice. Essentially, you're making it like Natalie Lauren is the crazy one.
Yeah.
And that's not fair to her. I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? The hip hop corner will take it because we already know that not everybody's going to rock with what we do and how we move. We already know that, you know, a lot of people are going to love it and some people are going to hate it.
And praise God, man, that we got there at a certain point. You know what I'm saying? that we eventually got to where like, why do we care if somebody doesn't like the way we report on things in our style of media?
It was because
it doesn't matter.
And when you get into the media,
it's okay.
When you get into the media standpoint, you have to make a choice.
Thank God.
To make a choice.
Right. Thank God that that's the only problem we got. Praise God that we wake up. Our problems are so small.
Yeah, that's
true. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you preaching now.
Thank God that we can wake up. Thank God, seriously though. Thank God that we can wake up and the issues that's presented to us is somebody disagreeing with the way that we report on media.
Yeah.
These problems are so minor and so micro to our human.
So minuscule
to us as humans compared to what a bigger problem could be. And I'm so at peace. We're so at peace. Praise God. I'm sorry, and I don't mean to divert.
Yeah, you just had to get. Yeah.
But hopefully that can help somebody. Seriously.
Yeah.
Because if that's all you got to worry about, man, you're living life good, and God is good. God has blessed you.
Yeah, man. So with that being said, apparently that situation is now resolved. They were. I guess a pool resolves everything. Because that's what they were doing. They said what they said. You can only take what they said. You can only take from what they put out there and what they said. So all in all, it is a crazy situation. Again, some would say that I kind of went hard on Cray, but I've come to expect so much from him as a human being that watching him in certain situations and be so calculated with the way that he moves. Yeah. Even when it comes to collaborations, I have a hard time saying that he didn't know this was going to make waves.
Lecrae has it. He really has it.
He has it bad. He got it rough. He's damned if he do and damned if he doesn't. So it is. Yeah.
He has a difficult way to know how to navigate. When you're talking about Christian hip hop royalty, and in my opinion, hip hop royalty in general.
Oh, he was mentioned top 50 rappers 50. Of all time. Yeah,
you talking about
or not top 50, but the 50th anniversary. His name was there.
You're talking about hip hop royalty in general, and when you're talking to people who can objectively speak on his name, the things that he did to get people to look at this space, even though if he wasn't trying to do that, as you know, he came out and was just, making music true to himself and everything like that, and he wasn't trying to build CHH as a lyric said. But
keep that up there.
He still
Okay,
my bad.
Yeah,
he still did major things, whether it was willingly or, unwillingly. But this is a guy that has so much respect from a lot of people. Not only on the Christian hip hop side, but on the mainstream side and those who aren't necessarily Christians and of the world. And he still has, or who's not Christian, and they're living their life and their everyday life in the world. But he still has respect from those type of people. So it is difficult to try to maneuver and make sure that you're doing things right 100% of the time. This is a guy who's basically the living LeBron James of Christian hip hop and of this world, where he's one of the most attacked artists in Christian hip hop, and if not the most attacked artist in Christian hip hop.
You don't think Bryson Gray is the most attacked artist in Christian hip hop?
Bryson got years to put in before he can, talk about his chats, because I would tell Bryson if he thought he was, you still.
Oh, he think he is.
Yeah, but you still got years to live through this. Yeah. You're talking about Lecrae Lecrae for 12 years, 12, 13 years. I want to talk about the first church close era. About 12 years, 12, 11 years, Lecrae has been going through, his name has been, had dirt thrown on it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? For the better part of 12, 13 years, ever since the first church closed. Until Bryson can live through that, you know what I'm saying? For that type of time frame, he ain't even, it's not to be compared to the type of criticism that Lecrae has faced. Because the thing about it is, Lecrae will not only get criticism from people like Bryson, but he'll get criticism from people on the other side as well. So,
just thinking about this whole Dee-1 situation, it was just surprising to me because they had the record Dear Mr. Christian come out, and him, Derek Minor, and Dee-1 were all speaking on essentially this, which is crazy to me.
Right.
Essentially, they were speaking to this. So, and it was kind of crazy to hear Dee-1 be like, "I know you, bro. Like we've been in these vicinities together."
So don't get it twisted. Dee-1 was basically like almost like the original Toby and Wigway. Like,
So that
you know
was
what I'm saying?
But that's where the confusion kind of sets in,
he
though,
was
because
one of the first like separate where you knew he was a Christian, but yet his music
wasn't really
wasn't
Christian
super
hip-hop, yeah.
right. His music was hood,
Yeah.
and you know what I'm saying.
he talked about God.
You know what I'm saying?
But it
men, they
wasn't-
hate to see me
Yeah.
win. Men, they hate to. This is D1.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I do think that D1 has had a sense of growth, and he doesn't necessarily make music. His music is. It's kind of crazy. He like almost went backwards in the way people
he went
move
more God centered
now.
Yeah,
the way
now,
people move in terms of the way that they make their content, not in terms of how he moves professionally or anything like that. I'm just talking about in terms of the way that Christian rappers make their content. You pretty much see early on that when they first start up, it's the Jesus music's and the praying for you. You know what I'm saying? That's how it starts
Yeah,
off.
I can
And
play
then
the background.
later, right? And then later, as you start to grow, you kind of get into this one to branch out.
get into the
and
Welcome
talk
to
about
America.
other things. Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of get to branch out to want to talk about other things. D1 was almost the opposite, where he came out
talking to 50 Wayne and Jay.
Yeah,
And
right,
now
exactly.
Then he
Yeah.
talked about paying Sally Mae, which the crazy part about it is once he came out with Sally Mae back, I didn't think he was going to make regular Christian hip hop no more. Shortly after that, then he made the New Orleans Pelicans theme song.
Yeah.
Like, I just didn't think that he would go back to this. However, that's one thing that I do know about D1, or that I have seen, is that he doesn't shy from his stance.
Yeah, and you talk about D1, you talking about a dude, he was there with the Sway interviews and that era with going on to the BT Hip Hop Awards and
so that's why this was a bit of a
shocker for you.
Yeah. Again,
it was to me as well.
Again, anybody,
Because I thought D1 would be the one to
defend Lecrae.
to get it.
Yeah, to
get
understand
it and
it.
understand, because
Well, and
he's
that's
been a
the
part
crazy-
of that world.
Well, and that's the
He's
crazy
been on
part.
that side.
So
yeah.
everybody is literally saying that him and Lecrae is ultimately saying the exact same thing. Meaning that there are certain parts of ratchet culture, which ratchet is the operative
Yeah,
term
we
that
should-
people are utilizing to say kind of like ghetto.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like there are certain parts of it that's just going to be because it's from my environment, right?
Right.
But there are other parts of it that we need to do with, like the, you know what I'm saying, hanging out the window with my girls. Like, that is the important. Shouts out to Sister Gloria. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like those parts are the parts where it's just like we can show our authenticity better than this, but we all like to try to show it this way. It seems it's lost on everyone that the name of Lecrae's record label is Reach Records.
Yeah, right. Did we forget that?
I'm thinking I'm
Uh.
thinking that everybody, and not saying that that's his. It was kind of wild that he was like, I know you have a desire to fit in with the culture, because
that was crazy. When you call somebody, he said you're sounding lukewarm.
Yeah.
He didn't call him lukewarm.
wait, lukewarm.
But he said-
Lukewarm
and he
desire. He said you sound a little suburban.
Yeah. He said he
You sound a little suburban.
You sounded suburban. And he said something
sound
else.
real suburban.
And he said something else that I was like, dang, like he really
he
really
wasn't
going for
playing.
this dude. But
Yeah, he wasn't playing.
I'm sure it's a situation. And that's probably what made D1 upset. But honestly, every action has a reaction. And if you knew that in your mind, Lecrae fit that shoe, then it's probably good. It's probably okay to. You can say how you feel, but you gotta understand the response that's gonna come, because everybody automatically knew that this is Lecrae.
Yeah, that's what I'm
like
saying.
he did
It
everything
wasn't-
but said his name.
Yeah,
he did everything but said his name. In the interview.
It wasn't a guess.
Like
It wasn't.
that has been his. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Lecrae he's probably had T-shirts that have said "Righteous and Ratchet."
Maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised. Don't take that
probably,
to word.
He probably got a tattoo.
You're right. Don't take the T-shirt thing to word. But what I'm saying is, he's said this so many times it wouldn't surprise me if he made Righteous and Ratchet merch. You know what I'm saying? Because he said that he's a little bit of both all the time.
If you're on, and it can only be someone like a D1 though that can say this. When Caleb Gordon spoke,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Is that and like Lecrae said in our interview, you talking about somebody that's like twice your age who's been here and been doing this. Like
D1 has
D1
been
has
with them.
been, yes,
you know what I'm
he's
saying?
been around.
Yeah,
D1 has been around, and he's also seen the level of mainstream success, a certain level of mainstream success,
right?
That not to the same height as Lecrae, but he was definitely out. He was definitely out there and getting looked.
He had
at.
matter of fact, didn't he get a record deal before Cray? RCA?
Oh, he was RCA.
Yeah, didn't he get that before Cray?
I forgot about RCA.
If it wasn't before Cray, it was like shortly after the Columbia deal.
Right. It was around. Yeah, it was close around. But
yeah. So to go back to your point, yeah, you're absolutely right. This is someone whose name carries weight that it makes your eyebrows raise, it makes your ears kind of perk up a little bit because this is somebody that knows him or knows this situation. So as we break this down, and we're about to get out of here, but as we break this down, I definitely want to know whose side y'all are on. I know the majority is probably going to be obvious and say that they're on D1's side, but I'm going to do exactly what y'all thought that I was going to do and say that I understood where Cray was coming from. It's kind of wild that he was making Ratchet fit his definition of, but I totally understood where he was coming from, because bonnet and flip flops is Ratchet, to an extent.
Right.
But
that's why I said we have to know, what does Ratchet mean to you? What is Ratchet to you? Because if you're going to seriously say that,
I don't think nobody believes Lecrae was co-signing the culture of Ratchet.
Yeah,
That's what kind of really threw me for the loop. It's like, obviously, but you would have to go through a lot of, especially as more recent music. My wife is half city girl, half saint. Those kind of things. Which again, I still know what he means, but those are the things where I think people started to kind of.
And then we have to. D1. I would think that D1 would understand that Lecrae is a wise guy, and he is careful with he's careful with his words most of the time. And I would think that D1 would know that when Lecrae talks about being righteous and ratchet, that it's with the best and most pure intentions possible, and that he's not talking about like what honestly, what is Lecrae going to be talking about when he talks about righteous and ratchet? He's obviously not going to be talking about doing anything crazy, or you know what I'm saying? So
but we can keep going.
We talk about ratchet as like, ratchet in simple terms a lot of times just being loud. You know what I'm saying? And
ratchet in hip hop terms is a gun. So
yeah,
I mean, what do we? What do we?
This can have This is why I said,
because it's loud. By the way,
right? And this, and this is why I said it would depend on what we're considering to be ratchet, because something can be ratchet, and that doesn't mean that you worldly or being a heathen or whatever the case may be.
I think here we go again, trying to take over the word. It's all about the words, like you said, its definition, its meaning. I think Lecrae had a point when he was saying, look, when I say nigga, like that obviously does not mean the exact same thing as if John comes and calls me a nigga. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? If I'm like, I got it. Now, granted, you could say it's really all semantics. It's really where you land on the issue. And it is what it is. I just expected D1 to more understand. That is the reason why it was a bit more surprising to me within this situation. We all knew where Lecrae stood. I think we all got it. Lecrae didn't even have to make a video. I think that this is where Cray is going to start realizing that it really is damned if you do it, damned if you don't. He's in his villain arc right now, so he's doing a lot of things. He's doing a lot of things that we would say he didn't have to, but we're happy that he is. For example, the response to Caleb Gordon. Everyone could say that he didn't have to say anything. But we're happy that he did because we got the a bigger picture of what was going on. With the D1, we all knew what he was saying, and honestly, it could have been left at that. But I know what happened. Craig got tapped on the shoulder. By everybody else that watched it, he got tapped on the shoulder and had to defend his stance. It's just wild that it's D1 when, as you stated, we thought that they were both on that same team. I told you same team was a lie. I told you same team was a great shot in the dark. It was a great. Maybe that's what Craig did to Swoop. I thought same team. After he made the record with Forrest.
Yeah. Right. That would have been the perfect response. I mean, after all, we're all on the same team.
Right. But yeah,
wink,
man.
Wink. That would have.
Yeah.
If I was Swoop, bro.
If
you
didn't
want to got on live,
yeah.
If he would have got on live and said that, bro, and said after all, we are on the same team. There would have been nothing else to talk about.
That's a fact.
With Lecrae, bro. There would have been
fact.
nothing else to talk about. But
That's
we're
a
talking about, funny shenanigans.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, I think it's wild, man. Again, why don't y'all let me know what you all think. It's crazy how much. Have you noticed this always happens to Cray around tour time?
Yeah.
Like, ain't that wild?
Yeah.
Like with the he's going back on tour with Hovey. Church Close Part 2 tour. And now this has happened. Caleb Gordon happened before the Church Close tour. And unfortunately, the Gavi situation happened right before the Reach Records tour.
Yeah.
Like, this is bananas.
Yeah, it's always something.
Like, right before tour. Yeah. Like, normally, you would say somebody had something to gain out of that, and you'd be like, oh, they did that because they trying to destroy whoop-de-whoop. The timing is crazy, man. The timing is crazy. So we got Go Cray. Do y'all side with him on the Forrest Frank situation? What comes first, the bag or brotherhood? Y'all let us know in the comments below. And then the situation with D1, Crew Nation probably gonna, really understand. But I gotta admit, a lot of people are really siding with D1 on this. And it's nothing to be upset about. I mean, you can see it. They're both saying different things, but saying the same thing.
Yeah, you're gonna have people that have always had the problems come out and defend the stance that D1 is taking because they've always felt that way. So
Bryson Gray agreed with D1.
Of course he did. Of course he did. Of course you did, Bryson. Of course. Of course he did.
Not only is D1 speaking Bible talk, but he's talking about
Lecrae. Of course. It was preaching to the choir. It was, if you will, it was a beautiful masterpiece to Bryson's ears.
Yeah.
It was prophetic. It was a verbal masterpiece,
man,
coming from D1. If you're Bryson Gray,
yeah, that was.
A painting put into words, if you will, as what Bryson Gray saw.
It was the Mona Lisa of speeches, if you will.
Yeah, Nah, we're going crazy, baby.
Hey, man, you already know who it is, what it is, and what we do, baby. It is your boy, Jay.
This is Chris.
And it's on.
Signing off. If you ain't got it by now, go to sleep, wake up, and try again. Chill. That was hard. I ain't even gonna lie.
I know, bro.
But
I just hope the mic still works.
No, it probably
it don't
broke.
Do it. Hold on.
Dang.
Hold on.
He said.
You already know who it is, what it is, and what we do.